Hello, Pile 1, and welcome to your reading on the trap that you're in and how to get out. Now, the reading is going to be split into two parts. The first part, a confirmation, but also it's the part that is the trap that you're in. That's what these cards are answering. And then the second half will be how to get out, basically. I haven't shuffled or read that part of the reading yet just because I didn't want for it to influence this part of the message. That being said, to get in, we have for you shift. It's not over yet. And then Lenormand adds tower, lady, and man. Now, I do have to say, I audibly gasped when I turned over the Lenormand cards because you have not just two cards in sequence, but like man and lady, which in Lenormand are meant to be a reference to the querent and or the person that they're asking about. So the way that I read these cards is if I get one of them, okay, it kind of depends on the reading actually, where in some cases, like if it's a love reading, then I take it that either the man or lady is the person that we're asking about, just because that's just a me thing. But then in some cases, if it's not a love reading, then I will take that to be the person that like asked the querent, basically. But the fact that we have both of them right next to each other pretty much makes it so that this is about a relationship, a connection. Very likely romantic. If not romantic, then this is someone you consider family. This is someone that you are close with if they're not actually family. That being said, I want to take a second to describe the cards just because I like to. Shift is basically an infinity symbol made up of triangles, so it kind of looks like a bow tie. It's not over yet is a gravestone, and the grave is what the words are on, and then there's a little bit of grass at the base of the gravestone, but then out from behind the gravestone and encircling it is this almost like cloud thing, but it's basically a ghost. It's not taking any shape, but something's coming out of this grave basically in a spiritual sense. And then tower just depicts an isolated tower with some dry crops around it, and then lady depicts a lady, and then man depicts a man. The only detail that I'm really focusing on is that they are facing each other. And why that's important to me is because the sequence here is that lady is 29 and a man is 28, which means that he would come before. So the way that the Lenormand sequence is set up and that the artist drew the cards, they wouldn't be facing each other if they were in sequence, but the way that they landed in your reading, they are. And so the message here is basically one of there is something that's preventing or has preventing union or has caused an ending to that union. It's very likely something official. So this could be your job or theirs. The title that one of you holds prevents you, like policies within the place that you work prevent you from dating if you guys work within the same place. Or maybe it's just like propriety, like you guys work in the same place and it's such a tight-knit group, or it's just not, there's just something that just doesn't make it right. In other cases, it could be something like, I almost want to say legality, but something to do with like the government in some cases, where it could be kind of like someone's been arrested, or I'm just going to leave that there because there's so much going on in the world right now, especially in the part of the world where I am, that could mean so much to anybody listening. But the point is, something has determined that this union is no longer possible, or just isn't possible. It's very clear with shift that, and with tower, that a change needs to happen. For some of you, that change is the moving away from this individual, because you know that you need to. In other cases, it's that like more it's not that you're making the choice has been made for you. So like in the cases where it's like it is a job or it is something like to do with the government or legality, the choice was made for you, and so that's something that you must now abide by. And so with it's not over yet being like the gravestone, so like there's this very clear idea that once there's a gravestone, it's because the body has been buried, and the body has been buried because the body has died. And so like that's the officialness of it, where it's like, yeah, the thing is over, but then the point of the card and the ghost there is like it's not over yet. So it's like even though it's officially over in whatever way that it is, the feelings linger, the mind lingers, you linger there, in like love or whatever it was that this connection was, you like linger there. Very likely love, right? So yeah, I mean, what a fucking trap to be in, holy shit. That being said, I don't think that there's anything else I need to say about these things. I guess with Tower there could be, if it adds confirmation, that last detail would be like if there's a degree of isolation, which of course isolation from this individual, sure, but specific isolation, like where maybe if it's like a job thing and you had to go work somewhere, like you're like in solitude, or I don't know, if that adds a layer of confirmation, then welcome to your reading. Not that, you know, it doesn't all have to 100% be true in order for this to be a reading. Like most of this should be true, and then you know that you're at your reading. If none of this is for you, then obviously, you know, thanks for being here. Go ahead and find another reading for you to listen to. But okay, let's get into the rest of your reading, which is all about how to get you out of this pickle. Because of the message that came through with that, like, first part of, you know, the trap that you're in, and it being so, like, concrete. Like, it's not so much that you're in a trap so much as it's like something's over or something's official, and it really is just for you to, like, adjust to it. Spoiler alert. To that end, because of, like, that's the message that came through, it didn't really feel so much like a trap to free yourself from. Because, like, at first when I started to shuffle the cards, I was like, how does pile one free themselves? And then it was like clear, it's like, well, there's no freeing yourself from something that's so clearly, like, things are different now. And so what came through, what I was moved to ask instead, was how does pile one navigate through this? And that being said, what came through was assassin, and the keyword is ruthlessness. We have a skull with, it's very artistic. It kind of looks like a ribbon, but it's kind of like blood, and it's very artistic. That's not the point. The point is ruthlessness. That's what we're going to take away from this card here. But I digress. We then have portable console, which kind of looks like a Game Boy looking device. And then tarot gives us the Page of Pentacles, the Page of Swords, and the Ace of Pentacles. And the Page of Pentacles is focused on his pentacle, not so much on what's going on around him. And the Page of Swords, it's not so much that he's like clearly unhappy or in distress or anything, but he doesn't look super comfortable in this environment. And then the Ace of Pentacles depicts a very ornate coin. To get into the message, you're basically being advised to adjust to the circumstance, because clearly, through that first half where we were determining the trap that you're in, it's not over yet. And so because of the way that both of these halves came out, the messages that came through, it's very clear that the feeling is mutual. Like, it kind of does look like one of you is being more rational about it. It could be both of you, but at least one of you is being more rational about it, where it's like, let's just do a clean break, or, you know, we just, to prevent ourselves from getting hurt, like, let's do the rational thing, things like that. The point is, the Page of Pentacles, and I'm going to start with tarot and then move to the Oracle cards. The Page of Pentacles is whichever one of you is the one that has that, like, official thing going on, where we talked about it, like, for some of you it's a job, for some of you it's something like more severe with, like, the law. For others, it doesn't necessarily have to be that, but like a certain circumstance in your life is what's preventing this union from continuing or even happening. And so whoever that is, the person who is attached to this thing that's preventing the union from happening, that is the Page of Pentacles. And so whoever that is, that person's task is to adjust to this new circumstance, to get settled there, do what you need to like be sure that you're good there. And then you basically have the added task of kind of making sure is like, if it's you've moved somewhere else, like whatever it is, like a long distance, what does it look like for this connection to continue given our new circumstances? Is that something that's possible? Is that something that I want to ask for? Because the task lies with you not only to adjust to this new circumstance that you're in, it is also to determine, do I want to continue something with this person, even though the circumstances would make it that much more difficult. And so the other individual, the person who has to, one person is the person who's like dealing with this reality directly, and the other person's dealing with like the consequences of that, where like that person's no longer here, and so now they have to adjust to that. And okay, let's say that if you are the Page of Pentacles and you offer this person the Page of Swords, I want something more, I want to continue things, or let's figure it out. And then vice versa, like if it's not you, like if you're the person that's adjusting and it's the other person who had to leave, or whatever the case is, whatever the point is that the Page of Swords has to then decide if they want to accept that offer. And so like, okay, yes, you have every right. Okay, I can't say you. Whoever it is, the Page of Swords. If you're the Page of Swords, then you have every right to advocate for yourself and really like take your time to decide, like, is this something that I want for my life? Is this something that I want for myself? And then vice versa, if you are the Page of Pentacles, you need to respect that person's decision and that person's right to choose. Like, yes, it's your task to offer something, but like, it's understandably a difficult thing. The cards are very clearly demonstrating that. And so though it might be difficult, like, it is their right to decide that they don't want to do this. Not that that's in the cards, it's just like, that is part of the deal. On the other hand, they could decide that they do, and so like now you both have to adjust to this connection in that new circumstance, etc., etc. And so that's why the Page of Swords has the Ace of Pentacles there, where it's like the Page of Pentacles already has this pentacle, and so like it's more direct and a different, like, we shifted from element, from sword to pentacle, so it is an adjustment for that person. Like, yes, the Page of Pentacles had no choice in the matter. Like, this is their circumstance, they had to adjust to it. That's the deal, no ifs, ands, or buts. But the Page of Swords does have a choice. The Page of Swords, whoever it is, whether it's you or your person, they do get to decide. They weren't forced into this, so they do get to decide if they want to go with the Page of Pentacles into the circumstance. And that's where they're faced with the Ace of Pentacles, where it's like, this will be different for me. Is it something that I want? Okay. With ruthlessness, it's basically, if you're the Page of Pentacles, it's basically saying, yeah, it is going to take a lot of, you might feel uncomfortable, like, oh, I'm asking too much, or it'll be just too difficult. You're right. You are absolutely right. That's why it's going to take some ruthlessness. Like, is this worth it? Like, you have to ask that question. Life is short. There is only one life, and if the chemistry is real, and if it's like good shit, okay, then go. It is going to take some ruthlessness. On the other hand, if you're the Page of Swords and you have so much to adjust to, ruthlessness, the same basic principle applies, where it isn't going to be easy. Is it worth the shot? Is it worth all the trouble? Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Be honest with yourself and move accordingly. The portable console, very clear message of like, we live in the 21st century. Communication isn't difficult. It isn't impossible. We are getting footage from places that we wouldn't be getting footage from in the past. I'm speaking in code here. You should know what I'm talking about. So if something like that is possible, like, bro, what are you really complaining about? Okay. Uh, yeah, dude. Is it worth a shot? Yes or no? If yes, cool. Go for it. Um, Make that offer if you're the Page of Pentacles. Accept the offer if you're the Page of Swords. If it's not worth it, then hey, there it is. Now we then what's left is to adjust to this new reality. Take your time. Godspeed. Regardless of where you're at, Godspeed to all of you. I really hope that this reading had something for you, and I hope to catch you at another reading. Okay, bye. Hello, Pile 2, and welcome to this reading on the trap that you're in and how to get out of it. This first part of the reading is that first part, which is the trap that you're in, and then the next half would be how to get out of it. This first part is meant to be a confirmation that this reading is for you. The trap that you're in is something that you should be able to recognize to some degree. And then in that way, you know that you can continue on to that second part of the reading. And know that the reading is for you. That being said, we have for you here magic, which depicts a pentacle. Basically, it's, I guess, what would now be called a pentagram because it has the linear star. And because of the keyword associated with the card, which is magic. And so I guess it stops becoming a pentacle outside of tarot and starts to become a pentagram. The next card is going to be Doesn't Realize Ghost. The words are, your lack of awareness is killing me. And we have a ghost sitting quite comfortably on a couch, and they're reading a newspaper that reads, man falls to his death. And so it all insinuates that this ghost is not aware that he is dead. Lenormand offers road, snake, and dog, and each of these cards is very simple. Each depicts what it describes. So a road has a road. On one side of the road there seems to be snow, and there seems to be like melted snow along the road, and then on the other side of the road there's a lot less snow. It's like melted away, and so there's this transition, I guess, where from like winter to spring, where the snow starts melting and we start to see the ground again. Snake depicts a coiled up snake. It doesn't look like a venomous snake, but it is coiled up, and the snake card traditionally in Lenormand is associated with something or someone nefarious. I'm just describing the image. It doesn't look like a venomous snake. And dog features a dog that's laying down, and they're not asleep. They have their eyes open. So they're comfortable, but they're aware. Okay. What am I getting from these things? A whole bunch of things. For some of you, it's clear that you seem to be attached to someone who, or something, a road, this path, that you aren't super aware of how it's impacting you in a negative way. Like for some of you, it could be, okay, because magic, it's not, I'm not getting at all any like energy of magic or like a curse on you or anything like that. It's more so how magic by nature is something that is unseen. It's something that you have faith in, and yes, you can do acts of magic that are physical and tangible, but the intention of doing those physical and tangible things is always to create something energetic and therefore not tangible, unseen. So that's what magic here is saying. It's that there's something that like you are really not aware of, and the ghost card confirms that your lack of awareness is killing me. But something to be said is that part of the detail, and let this be confirmation, further confirmation for you if it isn't, don't take it if it isn't, is that if it's an individual, part of the problem here is how unaware they are of how their actions and their moves impact you, which, red flag. It's also a red flag that you're not super aware of these, but sometimes we normalize things and, we have work to do, so it's more forgivable if we're willing to be aware of it and work on it, but we can't do the work for someone else. And one thing that's really coming through is you coming to see what it actually is. So it's either you've been noticing, like you're getting certain things here and there that you just cannot deny, where it's like, oh, that didn't make me feel good, or that like that did impact me in a way that wasn't super positive. For others of you, it's that like you see it, but you don't really know how to remove yourself from it. Um, okay, I'm trying to see if there's anything else because that's pretty much these. I guess part of it could be true for you, and this is super specific, so I guess like a super confirmation for you. Um, it's that this individual is following a path, and you being a good partner are following them down that path because you see the merit of the path, but the individual themselves might be the problem, or they might not be the problem, but you're just, this path isn't for you, it's for them. And it's time for you to start seeing that like it can be good for them, but it's not good for you, and your responsibility in this life is your well-being. Um, like first and foremost, and then from there you can start to serve others if that's what you feel called to do. But at the end of the day, your well-being is your own responsibility, and it's time for you to recognize that this isn't like good for your well-being. um okay, if that sounds familiar, if that is your like where you're at and your situation, um let's buckle up and get into how to get out of it. So we have for you here the waker. It's upwards, and so the keyword here is awareness. Quite appropriate. The imagery, it's like this eye in the sky, and there's like rays emanating from it, kind of like a sun. And there's these, like, it's framed. This eye is framed by a whole bunch of clouds, like all surrounding it, and the clouds then cover up the rest of the card. So kind of like this sun eye thing piercing through the clouds in its awareness. We then have Batarang, which is, of course, Batman's boomerang weapon thing. And I'm saying that as a diehard Batman fan. I struggle to describe that for whatever reason. Tarot then offers the Ace of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles, and the Four of Wands. And I was like, oh my gosh, when I saw that sequence, I just have to mention, just because the last pile also had sequence cards, and it was just, and then it also figured the Ace of Pentacles quite prominently, so it was just a little intense. Not that I'm saying you should go watch that, or that I'm seeing like similarities in the messages, but if you feel called to both, cool. You're getting a lot of sequence kind of things. Whatever, that's beyond the point. Every part of this reading is in essence saying that the way out of the trap that you're in, which again is being attached to this thing that you're realizing isn't good for your well-being, however that applies, your key out of that trap is to be more about yourself. We start with the waker and awareness, and that kind of just feels like you need to lean more into, okay, you've seen some truths or you're aware of it. It's time for you to start digging. It's time for you to actually, maybe not like fully investigating, like what else can you find? If you feel called to, and like your intuitive, your gut is telling you to do that, please do so. I'm also being told, like, be careful. Some of you are dealing with actual snakes. Let me word that differently, because the snake is a noble creature and whatever. You might be dealing with someone that's actually dangerous, and if you know that that's true, tread carefully. But for some of you, it's not that severe, and do some digging, do some investigating. For others of you, it might not be to do investigating. It's just like, okay, now pay attention. Now that you know that you're looking for more evidence that this isn't for you, pay attention and see what you start to notice now that you're actually looking for it. So lean into that awareness, see what more you can become aware of. Batarang kind of brought to mind how, we have Batman, and then if you really think about it, he himself as a character is not egotistical, and here is that Batman fanaticism coming through. He himself is not a super egotistical character, but so much of what he does would communicate that, because he's got the Bat Cave and the Batmobile and the Batarang, and they lean into that joke where some iterations of Batman do like take that to a almost campy degree, of course, because of the 60s Batman, which is very campy. That's not the point. What I'm kind of getting from it is, yeah, the Batarang, it's a tool. It's shaped like a bat because he's a bat, and it just feels like, if we were looking at that from the outside in and we didn't know anything about Bruce Wayne or Batman, this guy's so full of himself. It's like everything's about him. Like his own car is like figured after him. Whatever. So it almost feels like you doing things that are clearly for you and about you. Batman throws a batarang and he can be in the darkness, but because it's a batarang, now people know that he's there. So it's kind of like you doing things that communicate, like, this isn't for that person, or this isn't for that path that I was on. This isn't for that thing that was not good for my well-being. This is for me. This is about me. So you need to start being more about yourself, doing things that are intentionally about you, for you. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something that it communicates that to other people. It definitely feels like you start that with yourself, where you do start to prioritize yourself, your well-being, your desires, etc. And in so doing, deprioritizing that thing or that person that's, again, not good for your well-being. Batarang being a weapon does also kind of give a bit of an edge to that message of you do kind of need to be somewhat aggressive with it. It almost feels like me giving, for some of you, you're hearing this message and it's like, oh, I couldn't do that. Like, I'm just not like that. Well, hun, that's why you're in this trap. It's because you're not willing to do things for yourself. But the messages are coming through clearly that this isn't for you, and so now the message that's coming through now in this part of the reading is like, okay, you do need to be more about yourself. And sometimes it really is about faking it till you make it, which is something we all hear. But the first time that I actually like paid attention to the phrase, where I actually took it to have some merit, was my high school theater teacher, who I loved and respected very much. And she was talking about, we were preparing for the school play, and to those of us who were in the ensemble, we weren't like actors or anything. Side note, I was only part of the ensemble because I was part of choir, and the choir was part of the musical, whatever. The point is, she was telling us, like, just fake it till you make it. Like, you don't have to look good, just fake it. You know what you're doing, just sing the part. And she was telling all of us that. And we were all really nervous. So, we had never done anything like that before, but it was true. Like, we just faked it because that's what acting is. And then we realized, oh, it's not that hard. And they're not really paying attention to us because we're just the ensemble. They're paying attention to the people on the stage. And in fact, when the night came and we were doing those shows, the spotlights were literally on the actors on stage, and like, we were in the dark. We were just thinking, so it's like, I didn't have anything to worry about. The point is, fake it till you make it. So it feels fake and ingenuous, but believe me, it has merit to it, where sometimes it really takes for you to just put yourself in that space of, yeah, I am this way, or yes, I can do this. And then you realize that you can, or that you are. And then it's like, oh, I faked it and then I made it. So just something about like theatrics and Batman being so theatrical and fake it till you make, like, I don't know. There's something about, like, if it really does have to be about you putting on a persona, or you putting on an alias, or you putting on some type of costume in order to like feel confident, maybe now's the time to do that. Tarot being the Ace of Pentacles followed by the Two of Pentacles. Okay. The Ace of Pentacles is definitely talking about, okay, this new path is opening up for you, where what's being offered to you is a path of honesty, a path of truth, a path where you're honest with yourself about what is good for you, and then you're honest with yourself about what isn't. And so the Ace of Pentacles is basically like, yes, that is new and different for you, but it is a good thing. That moving into the Two of Pentacles, to me, communicates a couple things. I mean, I have to talk about how I'm reading a pip deck, and a pip deck I traditionally read where each number in like the Two of Pentacles here, I would then read as the High Priestess through the lens of the Pentacles, where in other traditions, like the more modern Waite Smith traditions, we do take in part the imagery of the card and then interpret that in a sense. And so I do have to say that part of, like, it did come through the Waite Smith tradition of the Two of Pentacles, where we see someone juggling two pentacles. That really came through here because it's so appropriate for the reading, where that version of the card really takes this idea of juggling two things that do like, and it's that these two things, or however many things you're juggling, really do require your full attention. It's your attention being spread into the things that you need to be paying attention to, and the balance that one has to really find in doing something that requires so much of your attention. So one example of the Two of Pentacles in that, through that lens, is you go to work and you also go to school. And let's just say in this scenario, you have no kids, it's just you and school and you and work. But you work a full-time job and you go to school at night. And so your whole day is taken up by either work or school. And if it's like you're not at school, then you're doing your homework. So it's like you're still at school. So your entire life is basically sleep, school, work, and that's all that it is. Your attention is completely taken up by these things. And then that's not an easy thing, right? You have to maneuver like your schedule and, time management, making sure that you're taking care of yourself by getting enough sleep to be able to do all these things, and making sure that you're eating well enough to do these things, etc., 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 and finding that balance through that really difficult thing of things taking so much of your attention and your focus. Part of the message of that card is the value of, if possible, setting down the pentacles or one of these things in order to show yourself what it looks like to not have your attention be spread out so thin. And why that was coming through is because that's part of the message, is where you now need to start giving yourself the space and the time to really start thinking and considering what would it look like for you to start moving away from this thing that is draining your energy and isn't good for you. What would it look like for you to start moving away from that, to start creating this, start stepping into that path that's being offered to you and moving in this new way? What would that look like? And not only like after conceptualizing it, after considering it, after thinking about it, then bringing it into fruition. And that's why we have these Two Pentacles cards, because it's all about bringing it down. And like, it's not just about like thinking about it, it's actually manifesting it, doing it. And you do it by acting it out, by actually practicing what it is that you're thinking. Now, that being said, the tradition with the pip cards my tradition is to look at it like the Two of Pentacles, the High Priestess, through the lens of the Pentacles. The High Priestess is knowledge. Yes, it's intuitive knowledge, but through the Pentacles, it's like knowledge, wisdom that you gain through life experience. And so, yes, part of what you're going through, part of this trap and you getting yourself out of it, is meant to inform the wisdom that you're meant to accumulate through this life. Sure. But something that's being said here is there seems to be something in your circumstance, maybe in your past, that should help you navigate through this. And maybe it's not you specifically that went through something similar. It could be that you have someone close to you, a friend, a family member, I don't know, who might have really good advice. Maybe it's someone that you've like felt like, I kind of want to bring this up to them because I feel like they would know what to say. If that feels true, like, go ahead and do that. Of course, if you know that you can trust this person. That is definitely the name of the game here, where like it has to be someone that you trust. If you're not sure about it, maybe take the time to verify. If there's no time, then find someone you can trust, and if there's no one you can trust yourself. You're being all of this message, and you're part of this message is that you're receiving the truth outside of this reading, is telling you that it's time to start moving away from this. So trust that. And so we finish with the Four of Wands. And I have to say that the Smith-Waite tradition came through again, because the Four of Wands in the Smith-Waite tradition is one of homecoming, is one of the happy ending, the finish line. And so it's really coming through this idea of like, the path is clear ahead of you. It's just for you to walk it. This notion or this thought or this fear or anxiety that like, well, if I leave this, if I walk away from this, I don't know that I'm going to be okay. You are. Even if like it might be difficult to get to that finish line, the point of the matter is where you end up, where you're headed. Should you follow this direction instead of the direction you've been following, it will lead you to a better place. The Four of Wands through the lens of the Emperor then is a structure of desire, which is part of that message of like you need to be more about yourself. It's like, okay, what are your desires? How do you prioritize those things? Sure, there are some desires that we should not pursue for like different reasons. Like, for example, I would love nothing more than to drink Dr. Pepper all day, but Dr. Pepper isn't super great for the body. Sure, there are people, I know there's like that old lady who says that she credits her long life to a Dr. Pepper a day. I believe her, and if I had the money to do that, I might, and maybe someday I will. But the point is, that's a desire I can't fulfill, not only for my health, but also for my wallet. Not that a Dr. Pepper is expensive, but it's an expense every day. I'm just saying. Anyways, some desires aren't worth, like, it's just, you don't fulfill those. And so it's about kind of figuring out which of your desires are actually pursuable, tangible, possible for you, and then starting to form plans that get you to that desire and or those desires or goals, which again goes in with the prioritization of the self and doing things for yourself and not for that person or that thing. One final thing that I'm getting from the tarot cards is we have 1, 2, and then 4. We're missing the 3. And that it's missing, but that the sequence is here. Okay, the 3 is the Empress, and that it's missing is very appropriate for this message, because the Empress, among the very many glorious things she represents, one of the things in what is coming through as here is self-love, self-respect, self-value, and that's what's missing here. And through the following of this path, that's what you will gain, is the self-respect, the self-value, the self-love that you feel like you're lacking. Godspeed, my friend. There are better things waiting for you. It is up to you to start to pursue them. I really hope that this had something for you. Godspeed again, and I hope to catch you at another reading. Bye. Welcome, Pile 3, to your reading on the trap that you're in and how to get out of it. The first part of this reading is the first part of that question, which is the trap that you're in. It really is meant to be a confirmation that this reading is for you in the first place. And if this first part does sound relevant to what you're going through, then proceed on to the second half, which is the answering of how to free yourself from it. That being said, we have here air. We have ghost phone, will you answer the call? And then Lenormand offers birds, lily, and clouds. To describe the cards a little, air is the alchemical symbol for air, which is a triangle facing, like, upwards, facing up. And there is a line cutting across the triangle towards the top of it, on the top half. The ghost phone depicts a rotary phone, like those old school phones, and there's like a ghost coming out of it. And it's like a formless ghost, not too detailed. And then the Lenormand cards are pretty much depicting what the card is. So birds do depict the birds, but then there's this woman dancing in the center, kind of like a dancer, someone who's a dancer, but not, she's dressed in a way where it seems to be like she's performing. Lily depicts a woman smelling a lily, and then clouds is a framed, like, a landscape painting almost of like clouds rolling in the distance, and then in the foreground there's a person facing a forest. Okay, so pretty clear that there seems to have been something you placed a lot of your hope in, and that hope was never met. Something that you thought was there, something that you thought was possible, ended up being nothing but air. It ended up being just nothing more than thoughts in your head. So that could be applied romantically, to where you might have thought that the person felt a certain way about you, and it's now been revealed that that was not true. It might have been a job you were trying to pursue, something you were trying to pursue that you placed a lot of your hopes in. You thought it was one thing, and it's now been revealed to have not been that, and it has ended in disappointment. But more than disappointment, birds brings in two different possibilities. Both could be true. One could be true. One should be true, in order for this reading to be about you. On the more extreme end of things, birds can be talking about this disappointment being something that a lot of people are talking about. It doesn't necessarily have to be a lot of people, but like some people, you know that people are talking about it. Whether this is just like your family or just like your friends, I don't know. It could be like to a grander scale where like maybe it was something at work, and everybody knows about it. Who knows? The point is that could be one thing that's coming through with birds, where it's like, yes, you had this disappointment, and it's something that a lot of people know about. So it's like that's like a, what is it? Salt in the wound, to make things worse, basically. Okay, the other thing that birds could be talking about, is that this is something that plagues you. Like, maybe it's been years or maybe it's fresh, who knows, but like maybe usually you don't linger on things, but this is something that like really plagues you. You cannot get over it. It's something that like your brain will just not let go, or your heart, your feelings, whatever the case is, like it will not let this go. Maybe like if it's very fresh, then obviously that makes sense as to why, you're still processing it. But if it's not so fresh, then it's like that's what we're talking about, where it's like no matter what you do, this continues to plague you. So, okay, that is the trap that you are in. If this reading is for you, let's continue on to how to get out of it. Wait, hold on. I actually want to take a second to talk about one of the things that I'm getting from Ghost Phone, which is if it's a romantic thing, like it's very likely that this person ghosted you. I also just want to point out how much the air aspect comes through, where we have the air card. I used the ghost deck, but like air is a part of this like reading itself, and the ghost like ambiance really adds to that. Birds, they take to the air, and then clouds, air. There's a lot of air to it, so it's like it really was just there was nothing to grasp. It wasn't anything tangible. That's also where the whole logic of it was no more than a thought, because air is associated with the mind. So yeah, it never really left. It never got past the point of like concept. It never got past the point of it just being a thought or a fantasy for you, and that being like a disappointing thing. But okay, yeah. Now we can move on into how to free yourself from this trap. Okay, so a lot more is revealed about the situation in this part of the reading, and if based on what is being said here and kind of what is the message that's being given, answering the question of your way out of this trap, the name of the game is in essence accountability. Now, before you click off all angry, hold on, wait. It's not so much accountability for things you've done wrong. It's more so accountability for what you've allowed. And honesty with yourself about how things actually played out. Because there seems to be a disconnect between the way that you see things and remember things versus how they actually panned out. And a lot of it has to do with how little you accepted. But okay, let's get into it. We start with champion reversed, which the keyword for is downfall. We then move into smartphone, which is its own message, which I'll get to at the end. And then tarot offers the Four of Pentacles reversed, the Seven of Pentacles reversed, and the Knight of Cups upwards. We begin with champion reversed, which, a champion reversed is a championship that's been lost, so this is defeat. Part of the message here, and it's supported by the Four of Pentacles reversed, is the acceptance of defeat, the acceptance of loss. This is just, maybe part of why you dwell is because you maintain hope. There's a part of you that's like, no, but like maybe there's a chance. No, hun, it's done. It's just not gonna happen. The hope is unfounded. That's why it's a trap, because you're watering a plant that's dead, and that's why it's hopeless. That's why it's a trap, because you haven't gotten to the part where you get tired of trying to revive something that isn't there, and you basically choose better for yourself and move on. I know that it's not that simple. You're dwelling, you're stuck there. But the point is, until you try to go and do something else, you are going to stay stuck there. So we'll get to it. I'm going to skip over to tarot because the Four of Pentacles and the Seven of Pentacles in this deck specifically both depict money. Now, Pentacles are all about money, sure. It's about other things, but I want to talk about how specifically the two cards upwards are in some way, shape, or form the possession of money. If we look at the Four of Pentacles here upwards, it's a guy grasping dollars. He seems to have a very intense look on his face. He's very serious about his money. And he's really grasping onto it, like this is his and nobody can take it away from him. And then the Seven of Pentacles is she looks very poised and she's dressed really nicely and she has a look on her face like she's, as that expression goes, the cat that caught the canary. Like she looks very satisfied, and around her are these huge bags of money, so we can understand why she's so happy and smug. But something about the way that she's lounged and looking at us, and it's really set up so that we understand that she didn't get this money through, let's say, the correct avenues. Let's just say this isn't exactly her money. It is now that it's in her possession, but it wasn't before she did whatever she did to get it. That's kind of the point, is that she basically stole it. It kind of does give Catwoman energy. But okay, both of these cards are coming up reversed, and with the Four of Pentacles being all about like really grasping onto something and you being very egotistical about it, where it's like, well, no, I want it, so I'm not going to let it go. Like, this is mine, basically. If that's the mentality that you have had towards this person, towards this thing that you put so much of your hope into, well, that was your first mistake right there. First of all, the ego isn't like evolved enough to make apt decisions about what's best for you, which is why, yes, the ego provides so many good things, but we need to really check it at the door when we are starting to make decisions that are going to be for our best interest. And especially where romance is concerned, that's why so much of the discourse around romance and the discussion around it is about like the ego being a bad thing, because it gets in the way of a lot of progress. Yes, there are situations where we do have to abide by the ego at least a little bit to advocate for ourselves, but that's only within certain circumstances. I don't know why I'm going off on this tangent. The point is, the Four of Pentacles reversed is then that understanding that this thing that you were grasping onto so, like, roughly, again, there was nothing to grasp. It wasn't actually yours to have. It was never really yours in the first place. And the Seven of Pentacles, it almost felt like if any part of the situation you knew you didn't get there in the best of ways, if it's a relationship, like let's say you started talking to this person while they were with someone else, or you were with someone else, or something to do, like something wasn't right about the beginnings of all of this. If it's like a job, like maybe you got it, like, I don't know how you could get a job in a way that isn't right. Like maybe it's nepotism, or maybe you know that the other candidate was better, but they got sick and so they had to refuse the job. I don't know. Like maybe you understand that you didn't get there by the right means. The Seven of Pentacles is one of the things that it's saying, especially with the depiction in this deck, is like that's coming, like that's karma, basically. Like if it didn't start right, how could you expect it to end well? Or end right, to just keep it concise. Regardless of that, what is true across the board with the Seven of Pentacles is that the Seven of Pentacles is always basically what I just said, the consequence to an action. And so reversed, then it's a consequence that we are not satisfied with. And so if we're not satisfied with the consequence, we then need to look at our actions and what got us there in the first place. And so that's what I'm talking about, accountability here, where part of the freedom for you is like maybe why you're so frustrated about this is because there's a part of you that does recognize you didn't move the way, like, okay, maybe part of all of it is that you're recognizing you're not super proud of the way that you've moved in this situation. And so part of that is like, okay, yeah, that wasn't great. We could have done better. We need to kind of accept that this is what we did and this is how it panned out. And these are the consequences to my actions, I have to just accept that. And as hard as a pill as that might be to swallow, that is the key, the path to liberation from this trap. If it is a situation where, like in those situations we were talking about with birds, where if it's like a lot of people know about this and a lot of people are talking about this, that I feel does make this a lot harder, because you basically have to put on a strong face and admit defeat in front of a bunch of people, and that can be humiliating. That can be very difficult. But the thing is that there is a lot of growth to be gained from that experience. That I'm not saying that it's like, oh, it's righteous for you to suffer and you're gonna gain so much from suffering. And no, it's just, I think there's something for you specifically to gain from seeing how severe of a consequence can come from your actions. And I'm not saying that it's right. It's just that maybe you were acting in such a way because you hadn't had an experience like this before, where you didn't really recognize this is what could happen. And so now moving forward, it's like, okay, well, yeah, now you know better. But yeah. And so finally, to get to the Knight of Cups, and I know that we still have to talk about smartphone, and I'll get to that at the end, like I said. But finally, with the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups is traditionally associated with Pisces, and Pisces is an energy. I'm not saying that Pisces people are like this, because all people are the result of all of the planets in their chart, and then also the very real circumstances that they live through. So I'm not saying this statement about, oh, all Pisces are like this. No, I'm saying Pisces energy is understood to be this way. Very fluid, obviously, because they are the fish, and so they go with the flow, and they basically, it's not that they accept what's in front of them, it's more so that there's like, cool, this is what's here right now. Pisces has an understanding of like, but this isn't permanent, this too will pass, we're just going to keep on moving, and then in a few moments, or however long it's going to be, there will be something else for me to process. Right, that's all I kind of wanted to say about Pisces, and that's kind of what's coming through with the Knight of Cups, where on the one hand, because the cups are all about emotion, there does seem to be a need for you to kind of just be a little more honest with yourself about your feelings about all of this, where maybe thus far you've been putting on a strong face and it's like, maybe, this didn't really bother me. Are you sure? It's being revealed that it's a trap that you're in. It's clear, at least to me, that it is bothering you. And so you need to start moving in a way that like acknowledges and honors those feelings. What does this mean? For you to honor your hurt feelings means you need to kind of hold the person responsible for those hurt feelings accountable. And part of that is you, yes, and that is why we're moving differently now, or that's what's being advised. But then also, if this person continues to have access to you, regardless of the situation, if it's a job or a person, and whether this person is intentionally taking advantage of your feelings for them or not, like maybe they don't even know that you have feelings for them, whatever the case is, it's clear that you need to move on, that this isn't going to happen, and you need to kind of lick your wounds and go and heal, but away from this person or job, because of the severe feelings that you have around it or them. And so maybe that's part of the Knight of Cups movement, where it's like, yeah, I kind of need to move away from this and honor my feelings, because my feelings are hurt and they can't heal around this person if I'm going to continue to have feelings for them or this job or whatever the case is. I need to get away from them, basically, in some way, shape, or form. Create and maintain boundaries, basically. Another thing that the Knight of Cups is saying is, and only take this if it applies, like you'll know if this is your nature or not, but if it really is a matter of heartbreak, like have fun. Right now is the time to have fun. And if it's not about like having fun right now, and that could mean so many things. Having fun could be as little as flirting, or as much as just going on dates, and if you feel so called to do, and you're of age and you're mature enough to handle it, like, yeah, having physical fun with someone in a detached way, because obviously your feelings are tangled up somewhere else. Regardless of if it's like that type of fun with like romantic connection, it could also just be having genuine fun, like whatever you feel will be fun for you, whatever's going to make you feel good. Like it might be part of the healing process, might be giving yourself a little more, I want to say grace, but like, treat yourself the way you would have treated this person, or you would treat your significant other, like when they're feeling down. Take yourself out on that date, take yourself to that place you want to go to, buy that thing that you want to buy if you can afford it, things like that, where you're just basically treating yourself because you're kind of going through something. Yet another thing that the Knight of Cups is saying is, if you, this is also if you feel so called to, if you are in any way, shape, or form creative, or if you have been feeling called to a certain hobby, it doesn't have to be creative, just something that you want to invest yourself into, this is the perfect time for that, because all of these feelings, as you begin to process them, will become perfect fuel for those endeavors, which is another way for you to start looking at these things, where you're now alchemizing. And now I'm bringing like how it goes from pentacles into water. We're alchemizing this situation and the feelings surrounding it into something of use for you. Not that we have to do that. It's just that there's a lot of emotion and energy here that if you choose to do so, you could alchemize into something that is of the avenue that your outlet is. So like your art or whatever that endeavor is, like it could, this could be really good energy to put into that, basically. But okay, to move into smartphone, it is partially that message that we were getting of like creating boundaries with this person. Block that person, block the place, block whatever it is that is causing so much grief. Like just move away from it, remove yourself from those spaces, delete social media if you feel that you have to. The point is, the blanket statement for this card is get off that phone. It's because you be on that damn phone, basically. And if you already have someone in your life nagging you about that, I'm sorry to add to it, but part of the healing, the card is right there, is to get off your phone. One of the keywords for this card is addictive. So it's like maybe you spend a little too much time on your phone. Maybe you have, like, maybe it's on social media, or you have access to it on your phone, being able to see what people are saying about it, or like the text messages with this person. Like maybe there's something on your phone that really agitates and keeps you in this trap, and it's like, okay, then you now need to start creating boundaries, not only with this person but also with yourself, because you're it's kind of self-harm, isn't it? I mean, like going in your phone and looking at things that you know are going to hurt you, like, girl, come on now. So create boundaries with your phone as well as you need to, and be brutal about it, because now is the time for healing, and the way that you've been moving thus far has not been in alignment with that healing. So yeah, energetic hugs, because I know that was very intense, and maybe not what you were expecting from this reading. If you made it this way, snaps to you for being able to take that on the chin. Godspeed through this and through all of your endeavors. I hope that this reading had for something for you, and I hope to catch you at another reading.